What's going on, folks? Bob here, and welcome to a series of videos I've been meaning to do for I don't even know how long at this fucking point. So, you're probably looking at the title of this video, and you're wondering, Bob, why did it take you about 3 years to start watching Dragon Ball Super? I mean, Dragon Ball Z is my lifeblood. If you ever watch my Let's Plays, you know I'm super analytical. I'm super emotionally invested in Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff. So, what's taking so long for me to get to this shit with watching Dragon Ball Super? So, one, I had to wait for the dub because, let's be honest, I wasn't watching the subs. I mean, I knew eventually Funimation would be doing a dub, so I had to wait for that. And I was going to be doing this series of videos, and also the episodes taking a while to come out. But mostly these videos. So what this is, it's a series of my initial impressions / review, theories, critiques of Dragon Ball Super as it comes out, or not as it comes up, as I watch it. This is something I've been wanting to do because it's special. I want you guys to know my impressions of Dragon Ball Super because, like, obviously I'm super invested in this fucking franchise, and I've only been waiting to watch Super for a long time also. So yeah, that's kind of the reason this has been on hold. I'm waiting for time. I've been waiting for a good format to record this in, and since I have a fucking camera now, hey, I can do this shit now. So yeah, as a result, I'm gonna be doing these things. My goal is to do a vlog review every 5 episodes at the beginning. Once I'm out of the first 2 arcs, which is Res F and Battle of Gods, I'm probably going to do it every 3 episodes or so. That's my goal anyway. I'm hoping to maybe be caught up with Super by summer. Maybe that's my intention. But yeah, so I guess we could just go in and get into this shit. Now we got this out of the way. Also, actually, as a heads up, I want to stress for the fact that I know there's very common, very easily obtainable knowledge about Dragon Ball Super. I'm no stranger to that. Brandon watches it regularly. A lot of my friends watch it regularly. People in my Discord watch it regularly. Me, however, I don't know shit about Super. I don't. So when I'm watching Super, I'm watching it with the pretense that I have not watched the show. I am shutting out all information about the show that I know presently, like about Goku Black and Hit and all that crap. I am strictly keeping this to my own mindset about what I'm watching at the moment. So, as a result, I'm going to be giving you my theories while I'm watching this. That even though the series is almost done, I'm going to be giving you my own theories and my own ideas for what's happening in the pretense of the show. So, as a result, yeah, you're going to be seeing some post-mortem speculation from yours truly about this show. But as I've been discussing with Brandon, I'm pretty sure that the stuff I could come up with, because I know I like everything about this goddamn show. I'm pretty sure I can come up with some good things that even a lot of YouTubers have not thought of. Actually, I'm willing to bet that. I'm gonna shit all over Qual Man. What I'm gonna talk about. Anyway, so let's just go ahead and get this shit started. So, last night I watched episodes 1 through 5 of Dragon Ball Super, and of course, setting the tone was there's a lot of comedy skits, or not a lot of comedy. There was a lot of jokes. It's very lighthearted, and for someone who's so invested in like the Cell Saga and the Android Saga, and even a good part of the Buu Saga, it was weird to see Dragon Ball go back to a more comedy-based theme, which isn't totally. It's not totally out of the blue. I mean, I did watch Battle of Gods already, so I do have knowledge of that already. So I shouldn't be too surprised. But it's still kind of odd. I do really like how Goku has a job as a farmer, frankly, considering the sheer amount of farmland, the amount of land they have on Mount Pao. I think that's what the name is offhand. Sorry, it's been a while. It's too much Naruto in my head. I'm pretty sure that Goku could have been making a killing off of that, if not maybe talking to Mr. Satan sooner, or maybe winning a few tournaments. There's a lot of ways he can earn a shit ton of money in the Dragon Ball universe. I'm just saying. So there is that. Actually, I've got some historian notes over here. I'm going to be consulting. Let's just move this. There we go. So yeah, episode 1 is primarily setting the foundation. Something I found interesting during these first 5 episodes is that Beerus is already awake. Him being woken up by Whis doesn't actually happen. It's actually, he's already awake and just kind of jump into it. So it's interesting to see there's a bunch of differences between Battle of Gods and where we're already at in the show. Also, Bulma's party is held on a cruise line as opposed to just being out in the backyard of Capsule Corp. I'm not sure why they changed that, but I mean, there's probably gonna be a good reason for that later down the line. I'm not too sure what that is offhand, but that's kind of interesting. So, I guess I should probably mention this before we get too much farther. I'm watching this version of Super in the Blu-ray releases. That's to say, Funimation was dubbing this through the Blu-ray releases. So there's no ridiculous animation janks like Vegeta with 2 left hands, the horrible monstrosities of Goku in the fight with Beerus. None of that crap. It's not the original TV release. This is the Blu-ray cut with the animation upgrade and everything. So it's not terrible. There was still, of course, like animation hiccups every once in a while, but it's not like egregious like a lot of people were posting online. There's no severe deformities going on, so that's always a good thing. I also want to say the music is fucking fantastic. Like, Red Zeph was introducing a lot more choir orchestra backing tracks, so I'm not too shocked, but damn, the music is pretty fucking decent, I gotta say. I might, especially the Super Saiyan 3 power-up against Beerus. It was either Super Saiyan 3 or 1 or 2. It had this really decent guitar line, and it's good. I think they're bringing the synths back. I think they're using synths for this, which I'm not complaining. I think the music in that regard really helps set the tone of the show. I'm not complaining, besides it's pretty fucking good. Not much to say about that. So yeah, animation-wise, I'm not going to say the animation is perfect. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, this is Toei post-2010. We're not doing things... Nothing's hand-drawn. Nothing is cel-shaded. Nothing is working on a movie budget anymore. This isn't UFO Table. This isn't Studio Trigger. This is Toei working on a budget, and I'm accepting of this. I know you can make good shit on a budget, so I'm not expecting the world from these guys, but I am going to be giving a little room to breathe. So, animation-wise, it's not awful. Music-wise, it's pretty good. It's also just hilarious listening to the English dub voice cast doing this stuff, because the guy who's voicing Beerus, I want to say he's also the voice of Aokiji at One Piece / Kuzan. I want to say it offhand. It's either that or Japanese dub. Brandon's going to correct me, obviously. He's really settled into the role, and I really love Beerus' voice. Whis also sounds really natural. By the way, shout out to that one scene where Whis is talking to like a caveman alien, and in their actual like native tongue. That was whoo. That was spicy. I like that shit. Yeah, there was some crap like that. Something I did notice is that they still have the old voice actor for Android 18 doing her in Super, which is weird because I thought they switched to Colleen back in Raging Blast 2 and for Kai. I'm not complaining. I love 18's old voice actor. I mean, like the waves of nostalgia, but it's so weird though. I don't know why they have that inconsistency. I don't know. I'm not gonna look into that too deeply. But I'll just leave that as is. And yeah, it's also just great hearing Goku and Vegeta voicing, or I got that backwards. Fuck, John Chemmel and Chris Abbott voicing the respective roles as Goku and Vegeta again. That's always a treat. Goku, Sean Chemmel sounds like he's relishing this role, like he's back in character, and it's so fun listening to him as Goku. Like whenever Goku or Vegeta are on screen, that's honestly like the show stealer for me. I'm enjoying the fuck out of that whenever that happens. Conversely, all the Kai voice actors sound natural. This is particularly Bukai because Goten and Trunks are both there, and I haven't watched Bukai. I've still watched a little bit of regular Kai, but not Bukai. I know Bukai has its own issues. I'm not gonna get into that, but their voices are really good and not bad. So I'm gonna definitely give them a pass on that one. So I appreciate that. In fact, it actually sounds like no, it's not Laura Bailey voicing Trunks. Still, it's someone else. I'm not gonna fuss too much on that one. So yeah, but good shit. I'd probably say my favorite character so far. This is weird. Favorite character so far, either Beast. My dyslexia is strong right now. Whis or Beerus. I don't know which one I'm more right now, honestly. Beerus because he's a bit of a dick, but he's like fun kind of dick. That could be a word better. but also weak because they're bouncing a lot more jokes this time, and it's actually pretty hilarious. Case in point being Beerus questioning if Whis can go faster, and Whis is just like, I'm the strongest entity in this entire universe. You will not get faster than me. And Beerus is like, okay, okay. I love shit like that. Just like that level of humor where we can just like break a level of seriousness is just so good. I love that shit. Let's see. So if we're talking anything else, I kind of wish we showed, or at least in the flashback, Pilaf and his crew using the Dragon Balls to become young again. I feel like that hasn't been explored or like explained yet, but I'm not gonna qualm too much about that. It's more of a background thing anyway, so whatever. At least the important one there will be for the shit with Future Trunks later on, but I'm not gonna quarrel too much about that one. So off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of anything else. Let's see. I'm just gonna consult my list really fast. I'm going to talk about episode 2 really fast. So, an interesting thing with Vegeta is that Vegeta has vowed to match Goku in power. This is interesting for me because this is running post-Boo Saga, after Vegeta acknowledges that Goku is stronger than him, and he vows that instead of settling for second fiddle, he actually wants to keep training in order to match Goku. So, the reason I love this is because this means that Vegeta isn't just seeing Goku as a target for him to kill. This shows to me, honestly, that Vegeta sees Goku as a legitimate rival / a wall to climb, and that's really going to help flesh out his character in the long run and cement Vegeta as an actual main character. Not that it wasn't already a main character, but like this will help make it concrete, and I enjoy that. That's going to be pretty good. I noticed something about Beerus. This happened actually when he blew up, not the half planet, the other planet where they try to get the dinosaur meat from. The one I mentioned earlier with Whis and the caveman guy. There's almost like a hint of sadness with Beerus as he blew up the planet. What I mean by that is like the music sounded really sad. Beerus seemed kind of like out of it. So that shows to me like there's obvious hints ahead of time that Beerus wants competition. Like he doesn't solely relish in the act of destruction itself. He wants someone to match him, and I mean I guess hundreds of millions of years of being alive would do that to anyone, I suppose. I'm getting flashbacks of Altera from Fate Stella. I mean, I know that's a weird far-fetched jump going from Fates Tonight to Dragonball Super, but I don't think it's that far out there. He wants some competition, and I respect that. That gives him that went from being like a completely flat character to adding a good amount of dimension to him. So I really enjoyed that. That's really cool that he doesn't solely enjoy the act of destroying itself, but it's all he knows. So I do like that. Let me consult my list really fast. Alright, so we're jumping out to Dragon Ball 5. Episode 5. It's weird how Beerus was somehow responsible for a lot of shit that happened in Dragon Ball. Like, in general. Like, King Kai's planet being a lot smaller. Old Kai being locked inside of the Z Sword. How Beerus had access to that kind of power, I have no fucking clue, but I'll roll with it. And I guess a few other things, like why he allowed Frieza to do the things he did, I have no idea. Got me. That's a new one. Well, I know that I remember in Res F he authorized the destruction of Planet Vegeta, but the fact that Beerus was kind of turning a blind eye to Frieza, I find that to be a little dubious. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, yeah, he's the god of destruction, and he advocates for it, but like there's gotta be a line you gotta cross, or there has to be a line somewhere in the sand where you don't allow someone to do your job for you too much. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like there's something disconnected in that plot element there. So yeah. If I'm also gonna talk about the Beerus fight with Goku, I feel like it's a little on the lengthy side. I mean, I know I'm comparing it to Battle Gods again, but just the fact that I do enjoy the fight itself, and I'll talk about that fight more in length in a minute, but I'm not 100% sure how I feel about how long it went on with Goku going through the first 2 transformations of Super Saiyan and trying to hit him, never hitting him, repeat ad nauseum for about 10 or so minutes. It's not that I don't enjoy seeing those two forms being used, but I feel like we could have used them better, you know what I mean? And then Super Saiyan 3 happened and stuff kind of happened, but not really. Yeah. Alright, so I also want to mention that the Super Saiyan sound effects have changed. From the old pulsating sound effect of the aura from the original Dragon Ball Z to what we have in Dragon Ball Super, like namely with Super Saiyan 3, when the aura is on, it sounds way different. It sounds like, oh god, how's it sound? It sounds a lot smoother, like concrete almost, versus like the original pulsating slash waves of the original Super Saiyan aura. I mean, Super Saiyan 3's aura was already like really stagnant, and I can get into a lot of detail about like the auras and how they work, but I feel like that's kind of odd. I don't know. I could be looking at that too much. Maybe the sound files were outdated. Maybe they haven't access to anymore. Maybe they were crap. I don't know. Maybe they just want something a little less compressed. Who knows? But yeah, I'd say that would just about do it for my actual first impressions. So now I want to get to the section where I'm going to be throwing some interesting ideas you guys' way. So this is Bob's Conspiracy Theory Corner. I'm going to title it that in post. This is going to be fun. So basically this section is going to be about my theories and observations of Dragon Ball Super going forward. Again, I know the series is almost over, but since I'm watching this right now, to me, I'm just getting to this. I'm ignoring everything else that's going on. So this is my own isolated thoughts, and I'll be branching on them as we go forward. And I'll have new thoughts to bring to the table once I get through episode 6 through 10, and we can move on. So yeah. So the first thing I want to mention, let's see. So I know this is obviously, and I don't think this is really too much of a secret, but no one said this out loud yet. So yeah, Whis is clearly stronger than Beerus. Like, I already know. I'm obviously not talking about fucking Super or, oops. I'm not talking about Battle Gods. I'm not talking about Rezef. Like, the information I already have about that. I'm not how the old Goku to the 4, Beerus to the 6, and Whis to the 10. I'm not talking about that shit. Just the sheer act of watching Beerus and Whis interact, I could clearly tell that Whis is stronger than Beerus. The reason I say that is because their interactions definitely hints at it. Whis is the one person Beerus is willing to put up with and has them just doesn't blow up, obviously. Not just because he is his retainer, but also because there seems to be like a subtle level of respect for Whis that Beerus is able to give him. I mean, obviously, like, Whis freely lets him do whatever the hell he wants, but there's more subtlety there. The reason I say it, notably, is because Whis is definitely a lot more insightful. He knows the things that Beerus doesn't. He knows he's given hints that he knows Beerus is about to do something like stupid, but he backs up, like he backs off, and he lets Beerus have free reign. So I think that's really cool. There's definitely a slight hint of it, even without anyone saying anything. It's just kind of there, so I really do enjoy that. Alright, so the fight between Goku and Beerus is, not Super Saiyan God form, obviously, but, like, just Super Saiyan 3. It's clearly meant to establish the jump in power we're making, from the end of the Buu Saga up to the new, like, God era. And the reason I say that is because this is unusual for Dragon Ball Z. Usually when you make the transition from one arc to the next, the new villains are potentially just as strong as the main villain from the last arc. Like, if I were to give an example, when Goku and Vegeta are fighting Android 19, 19 is probably roughly as strong as Frieza was. Roughly. And then if you make the jump from the Cell Saga up to the Buu Saga, Deborah actually matches Perfect Cell. I don't remember if he matches him before Explosion or after. He matches him, and that's a really cool shout out. The jump we're making from power from post Buu Saga up to Super, it's striking just how much of a jump that is. Like, Goku isn't even able to make Beerus flinch, more or less. So that really tells me that we're not only making a huge jump in power, like fucking huge jump in power, but we're also introducing like a new dimension of power. Like, we're crossing. This is like a crossing of the threshold not seen since the original Super Saiyan transformation. It's is that striking. Like, this is Goku trying to fight Beerus was heavily reminiscent of like him trying to fight 50% full power Frieza. Like after he powered up to 50%. That the sheer gap in power there is very, very similar, except that Goku could almost catch up to Frieza sometimes, but Goku against Beerus could not even match him. So that really tells me there's symbolism here of we're abandoning a lot of traditional Dragon Ball Z norms, and we're going for something completely different. So I find it to be a really cool subtlety that I think a lot of people caught on to, but I feel like is really important, and not a lot of people really talk about outside of just, oh my god, Beerus is so strong. No, there's a lot more subtlety going on with this shit. So, and the other thing I want to talk about is that Vegeta training in 150 times gravity, something about that caught me off guard, because Vegeta was getting winded by 150 times gravity, but at the beginning of the Buu Saga, Vegeta was topping 300 times gravity, and that was a decent workout for him, whereas he's getting winded by 150 times gravity. Now, I will give the caveat here that when training on the 300 times gravity, Vegeta was in Super Saiyan, which is probably full power Super Saiyan form by then, because Goku set the stage for that kind of form to be the new like precedent for that kind of transformation. But I don't know about that. It just seems a little weird to me, because even though he was doing Super Saiyan then, I think there might be a hint that Vegeta was slacking in training, which is odd because he seems more obsessed with it than ever. So I'm not sure. I think Vegeta's normal body should be able to easily take 150 times gravity by now, but that just seems a little odd, you know? I don't know. So a cool thing I did mention, I did notice about the fight between Goku and Beerus, and this is something I actually want to keenly keep an eye on. Beerus' fighting style is a lot different than anything we've seen prior in Dragon Ball Z, like, period. The reason I say that is because Beerus is a slippery fucker. Like, not just in the mannerism of him being able to dodge all of Goku's attacks effortlessly, but he is naturally nimble, and I find that to be pretty cool, because this could be an indication of a new fighting style, like, altogether in Dragon Ball Z. Like, of course, I don't know anything about, like, regular Dragon Ball, or, like, the traditional martial arts they use there. But, like, I can kind of notice this shit. Goku always has, like, a more, like, a closed fist kind of fighting style, more, like, balanced. Gohan's usually a little more tactical, a little more defensive. Vegeta's is obviously fairly aggressive. I don't think it needs to be mentioned, really. Of course, when you watch Dragon Ball Z enough times and you watch the fights enough times, you notice the subtleties with their fighting styles. And Beerus is more nimble than Frieza in his final form, and that's impressive because Frieza literally ducked underneath Goku in multiple instances using his tail. So I find it to be very odd. This could be an indication that Beerus uses a more like snake-style Chinese martial art from prior. Or maybe it's a new fighting style altogether that Toriyama wrote up. It's hard to tell, really. I don't know. I can't speak too much more about that, but Beerus' fighting style is markedly a lot different than prior fighters in the series so far. Another one I wrote down was Vegeta allowing Goku to become stronger. Or not allowing, but acknowledging that Goku is stronger than him and making him the target. I already mentioned that prior, and I do think it's a really cool dynamic to Vegeta's character as a whole, so that's kind of cool. So a thing I'm actually curious about is whether or not a non-god could actually confront a god in this part of the series. Something I've always been wondering about is like the actual like what a god is basically in Dragon Ball Z, because you know, traditional knowledge would have the Kais as gods, but now there's actual gods. So that makes me wonder if a traditional like non-god character could ever hope to match a god. Could ever hope to match a traditional god character. What I mean by that is, it seems like there is definitely like there's obviously a huge jump in power between a regular character and a god character, and I think it has to do with more besides just like the sheer power. There seems to be some sort of exterior trait working here that keeps a god character like on a higher level than a non-god character. What that is, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with how only gods can sense other gods' energy. It might be something to that effect, but I'm curious about that because Goku thought that maybe fusing with Vegeta could work, but even he wasn't so sure of that. So it tells me that maybe Vegeta or Gogeta could potentially catch up to Beerus, but not beat him. So I find it to be really interesting. There's also the possibility of like Ultimate Gohan going Super Saiyan. That might bridge the gap because Super Saiyan is a 50 times multiplier to basic power. So maybe, but I don't 100% know about that. And also the idea of Ultimate Gohan becoming Super Saiyan is kind of a dubious idea in its own right. So you know, it's whatever. And the last thing I want to mention is actually something I just thought about last night while I was on Discord. The God hierarchy. So this is actually something I thought I've always had regarding the original Battle of Gods movie. So what exactly is a god? Because it's obvious just looking at this that there is some sort of hierarchy to the god system, because Beerus is the god of destruction. Now, assumedly he didn't give himself that title, so odds are very good he got that title from someone else, and it's a job and a seat of power. So I'm not certain if that would mean that there's a hierarchy to this shit, or if it means more than initially just like you destroy things. There's a little bit of like complexity here that I don't know if ever gets addressed. But another thing I'm interested about is what the hell is a Super Saiyan God actually? Because I'm not sure if that means if it's an actual deity that rules over Saiyans, a deity over Super Saiyans, or if it's just a Super Saiyan that happens to have the power to fight a god. I don't get that. It feels like, I also know that probably never gets addressed ever, but it's really weird to think, and I'm not sure if we're ever going to get any like concrete answers for that. I don't know. I just feel like that'd be something interesting to add to world building. So that's gonna do it for my initial 5 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, almost. No, Dragon Ball Super. Yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments. I'm actually very curious because, again, I'm pretty fresh-faced into this. This is gonna be a series of videos lasting me for probably a good while. I don't know. I think the dubs are up to episodes 40 or 50, so I have some catching up to do. So obviously that's what I'm gonna be doing in these videos. There's gonna be a lot of details I'm gonna overlook. Obviously, you're probably gonna mention something I didn't catch, but strictly in context, episodes 1 through 5, this is what I have so far, and these are my theories going forward. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys at episode 6 through 10. So far, right now, it looks like Beerus is about to land on Earth, and I bet the Super Saiyan God's gonna happen. I'm not 100% certain about that. I'll keep you guys posted if I see the 2 left hands, because that's gonna be fun. So, yeah, peace.